Hello students, welcome to the part 2 of the second chapter, electric field. Today we are going to discuss the superposition principle of the electric fields. So let's start. Here we are having two static point charges Q1 and Q2 in the coordinate system having position vectors R1 and R2. Both of them are having their individual electric fields acting at the point O. Point O is having the position vector R0. We are supposed to find the net electric field existing at the point O due to the static point charges Q1 and Q2 respectively. In order to do that, we are going to generalize the principle of superposition, which we have used for finding the net electric force, which we will apply over here to the case of electric field. In case of electric field, it states that when a number of charges are interacting with each other, the total electric field acting on a given point is the vector sum of the field exerted on the given point by all the other charges. It states again, when a number of charges are interacting with each other and we are to find a total electric field due to all of them at a given point, then it will be equal to the vector sum of the electric field at the given point due to the all charges present around that point of observation. That is, for example, in this two charge system, the total electric field E at the point O is the vector sum of E1 and E2, which is respectively the respective field of Q1 and Q2. You can clearly see that field vectors of both the charges are pointing in the different directions. So in that case, we have to obtain a vector sum in order to get the resultant electric field. For an n charge system, the equation can be generalized as net field E is equal to summation of 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Qi over Ri naught square into Ri naught unit vector with I going from 1 to n. So over here, Ri naught is the position vector in the direction of which the electric field exists. Let us try to understand the concept of superposition principle by solving few questions. Here we have a question where we are to find the net electric field at the point P due to the two charges Q1 and Q2. So we are given two charges Q1 and Q2, we are to find the net electric field at the point P. Again, just like in case of the problems related to Coulomb's law, whenever we are to find out the electric field at a given point due to a system of charges, we will start by breaking the problem into few steps. For example, first we will find the electric field of only Q1 at the P neglecting Q2. In order to do that, we will consider that only 2 points we are having, P and Q. P as observation point and Q on which source charge Q1 is present. Now we have to indicate the direction of electric field of Q1 at the point P. So in order to do that, suppose we place a test charge Q0 at point P. Always remember Q0, the test charge will always to be considered as a positive test charge. So if we place positive test charge Q0 at point P, Q1 is also positive in nature, so Q1 is going to repel Q0 away from it in the direction Q to P. So its direction of electric field E1, it will be pointing from Q to P. Similarly, now we want to indicate the direction of electric field of Q2 only at the point P. Again, we place test charge plus Q0 at the point P because Q2 is also positive in nature. So it is also going to repel it away from it in the direction R to P. So its electric field E2 will also be directed along the same line. So if we indicate both the electric field at the point P, we can clearly see that E1 and E2 are pointing in the opposite direction. So once we find the numerical value of E1 and E2, by just taking the difference of the two, we can get the net electric field. So using the expression for electric field due to a single point charge 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught Q over R square, the value of E1 comes out to be 2.2 into 10 raised to power 6 Newton per Coulomb, which is acting from Q to P, and value of E2 comes out to be 6 into 10 raised to power 7 Newton per Coulomb acting along R to P. Now because both electric fields are acting at 180 degree with respect to each other, so when we apply the law, the equation of triangle of vector addition, that resultant vector is equal to square root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Here theta is equal to 180. So substituting that theta as 180 degree in the equation, the net electric field equation will simply be reduced to E2 minus E1. We are doing E2 minus E1 because E2 is greater in magnitude. So it gives us net resultant field of 5.78 into 10 raised to power 7 Newton per Coulomb, which is also acting along R to P. Let's move to the second question. We are again trying to solve the same question, but in this case Q1 is not positive but it is negative in nature. So values are exactly the same, but only the nature of Q1 is changed, but the process to find out the net field will be remaining the same. So first we will find at the point P only the electric field of Q1. Again the same step. Suppose we place a positive test charge at point P Q0. Now because Q1 is negative but test charge at P Q0 is positive, so Q1 is going to attract Q0 towards itself. That will, the direction of electric field of Q1 at P, it will be directed towards it, that is from P to Q. Similarly for charge Q2, if we place a positive test charge at point P Q0 as in the previous case, again Q2 will repel Q0 away from it, so its direction of electric field E2 will be from R to P. So here we see that the direction of both the electric fields are towards the static point charge Q1 because both fields are acting in the same direction. So the net resultant field can be obtained by simply addition of 2. So if we use the equation of electric field due to a single point charge, E1 comes out to be 2.2 into 10 to the power 6 Newton per Coulomb along P to Q. E2 comes out to be 6 into 10 raised to the power 7 Newton per Coulomb along R to P, because in this case angle between the two field vectors E1 and E2 is 0 degree. So over here the resultant equation of triangle of vector addition will be simply reduced to R equal to A plus B. So net field at point P will be simply addition of the two, which will be 6.22 into 10 raised to the power 7 Newton per Coulomb, which will also act from R to P. Now we change the geometry of the problem. We are having two static point charges Q1 and Q2 at Q and R point respectively, and we have to find net field at the point P. P is equidistant from point Q and R. In this case, again we will be assuming that we are placing a positive test charge at the point P. So let's indicate first the electric field of only Q1 at the point P. So if we consider only the pair of Q1 at Q and Q0 at the point P, because both are similar in nature, so Q1 will repel Q0 away from it, so its electric field will be directed from Q to P. So this was the field of Q1. Now for the field of R, we neglect Q1 and consider only Q2 and P. So because Q2 and Q0 again are same in nature, so Q2 will also repel Q0 away from it. So its direction of electric field E2, it will be from R to P. So the figure is clearly indicating both fields are acting at a right angle with respect to each other. So if we find out the value of E1 and E2, it comes out to be 2 into 10 raised to the power 7 Newton per Coulomb for both E1 and E2, because Q1 and Q2 are same in nature and distance of point P from Q and R is also same, that is 3 cm. So now we are having two fields acting at right angles to each other. So in this case, if we apply the resultant equation, we get the total electric field at point P, which is 2.828 into 10 raised to power 7 Newton per Coulomb. This is the field value. We have to find out its direction. In order to find its direction, we suppose that this is the net electric field E making angle theta with E1. In order to find out the net electric field, we drop a perpendicular from the resultant electric field onto the electric field E1. So in this triangle PAB, if we find the value of tan theta, it will be equal to BA divided by PA, perpendicular over base. Because both fields E1 and E2 are same in magnitude, so ratio comes out to be 1 and theta comes out to be 45 degree. This is what we have already learnt in the first chapter, Coulomb's law, that whenever two field vectors of same magnitude are acting at certain angle with respect to each other, then the net resultant vector acts at an angle which bisects the two given vectors. So in this case, E1 and E2 of same magnitude were at right angles to each other, and net field is making angle 45 degree with E1 as well as E2. This is the next question. Three equal point charges, 16 microcoulomb each, are placed on the three corners of a sphere of side 0.2 meter. We have to find out the net field on the fourth corner of the sphere. So here we have a sphere ABCD, each side 0.2 meter. We suppose that Q1, Q2, Q3, each 16 microcoulomb are present at point B, C and D respectively. We have to find the net field at point A. In this case, again the process will be same. We will be placing a test charge plus Q0 at point A and then indicate field of Q1, Q2, Q3 one by one. So let's first indicate the field of Q1 at point A, because Q1 and Q0 are same in nature. So Q1 will repel Q0 away from it in the direction B to A. So the line of action of electric field E1 will be from B to A. And its magnitude is given by 3.6 into 10 raised to power 6 Newton per Coulomb, which is from B to A. Now let's indicate the electric field of charge Q3 at the point A, because Q3 and Q0, which we consider to be present at A, they are also again same in nature. So Q3 will repel also Q0 in the line D to A. So it will have its electric field E3 directed D to A. Now, if we take a look at the geometry of the problem, Q3 and Q1 are of the same magnitude. Distance of Q1 from A and distance of Q3 from A, it is same. So the electric field E3 of Q3 will also be same as that of E1. And both of these fields are acting at a right angle with respect to each other. First we find out the resultant of these two field vectors. So let the resultant is given by E13, and using the triangle law of vector addition equation, the resultant equation come out to be 5.1 into 10 raised to power 6 Newton per Coulomb. And from the previous question we already know that when E1 and E3 same in magnitude are acting at right angle with respect to each other, so the resultant field E13 will bisect both E1 and E3 at 45 degree angle. That is, the resultant field of E1 and E3, it will act along the diagonal C to A as it is indicated in the figure. Now we are left with indicating the field of only Q2 at A. Now using Pythagoras theorem, you can easily find out the diagonal value CA, which will be 0.28 meter. So the direction of value of electric field E2 due of Q2 at point A using equation of single electric field due to a single point charge comes out to be 1.84 into 10 raised to power 6 Newton per Coulomb, which is also acting along the diagonal. So that's all. The two electric fields E13 as well as E2 both are acting in the same direction. Same line of action is there. So the net field is only the sum of the two, which is given by 6.94 into 10 raised to power 6 Newton per Coulomb, which is acting along CA. If you want to prove that it is actually acting along CA, you can drop a perpendicular from E net field onto the direction of E1. We will have a right angle triangle AQP, in which you can find tan beta in which you can find tan beta, which will again come out to be beta equal to 45 degree. So in this way, we can solve questions or the numerical problems based upon the electric field due to single point charges as well as the superposition principle. I hope you like the video and you will try to solve some of the questions. Next topic we will discuss electric field lines. Thank you.